All right, so I guess welcome to episode 2 of my move to a new city. This is going to be an episode more on kind of an update of what's going on and to some reasons of why I'm moving. Uh, we will start with some updates. As you can see, things have moved around. I do not have the same background. That is because in the process of deciding to move, I have decided to minimize my things. Like I said in the previous video, I am very much a minimalist. I kind of broke away from that when I got this new bigger place and started to fill it full of things, which is not bad. Lots of people, things are great. But for me, things kind of more filled the area than gave me kind of purpose. So two things for this this update. I have decided to sell pretty much everything I own except for the basics: laptop, my camera for photography, a couple of things, very minimalized, what I actually need. Basically what I could put in a bag and travel to somewhere and live. Besides, of course, my cat's coming with me because I cannot leave her. So I have a Squarespace site for photography, made a new page called The Great Migration, and put a bunch of stuff on there and basically sent it out to everybody I know here in the Fargo, Moorhead area, at least for now. And sold a fair bit. So this was entirely to fund a few things. One of them is I'm upgrading cameras because I'm taking that a bit more seriously. I'm also going to use this money to move, to make sure that I have plenty of money kind of in the bank, and just making sure I have everything. And another thing is moving things. So in order to move all the stuff I have, even if I cut it down to just what I needed in a one-bedroom apartment, bed, couch, yada yada, it was still going to be, I think the lowest estimate I could find is about $5,500. So $5,500 to move all this stuff. So looking at that and looking at what I want to do, I was like, maybe I don't need this stuff. I'm not attached to this stuff. So I decided to go ahead and sell it all. So it's been actually pretty successful. I've been able to sell things at really decent prices to people that were looking for these things, and able to facilitate them getting things for a much discounted price and things that they were going to buy anyway. So I'm very happy to be that kind of person that can give back to people at such a reduced price that it's beneficial to them to go ahead and do it. We still have a few things to sell, but I'm very excited. It was very successful, and I'm looking forward to it. The other thing that I have been working on is getting a visit in April. I have the train ticket. I went ahead and got an Amtrak there because if you haven't traveled by train, it's fantastic. So I got an Amtrak train to Seattle from Fargo. I have booked an Airbnb, and I found an Airbnb next to the apartment that I'm kind of looking at. So we'll see how it all shapes out, but this one is right next to the one that I'm looking at, so enables me to kind of figure out, make sure everything's where I want it to be. This is the place I want to live, because I get an Airbnb, it feels more like I'm living there. So that's kind of the goal of that. Now that's kind of update. We sold the things. I got the trip planned. We're still looking at a July move date. We're gonna go ahead and get to the big part of this episode, which is the why. Why do you move? And for a lot of people, it's pretty simple why they move. A lot of times it is for a job. It is for certain situational issues, being next to family, stuff like that. For me, it's about 4 different things, and we'll kind of discuss those in a second. But the most important thing I want to lead off with is that I'm going to explain a couple of things that were really meaningful to me. But I want you to understand, and kind of my belief that you should live your life for you which sounds very selfish, but you should definitely live. I believe some people should live their life for themselves as much as possible. So for this, I want to start off these reasons by saying, hey, you don't have to have a reason. You can just want to move, and that's okay. You don't have to have a reason, and certainly you don't have to have an explanation for others if you want to move. If you want to move, move. If there are reasons that you can give people, great. If there are reasons for you that you need to be able to move, awesome. But if you want to move just to move, that's fine. You don't have to have this big, intricate explanation of, what are my 5 things of why I'm moving. A lot of why I'm moving, I have these reasons to help me mentally, just because I'm a logical human kind of being, so my brain has to have that. You don't have to have that if you don't need to. So I'm going to kind of talk about the things that I need, but it's okay to just be able to want to move and to do it. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first of my logical brain reasons of why I want to move. I have lost a connection to kind of adventure that I used to have when I was a lot younger. I used to take off and just go on, just explore the woods and go on adventures and experience life as much as I can, sometimes to the detriment, sometimes to the benefit of myself. But I've kind of lost a connection to having that adventure and having that very important connection that drove me and gave me joy. And here, it's not that Fargo doesn't have adventure, it has plenty. But living here, I've lost that connection. And one of the things I want to do while moving, and not necessarily moving to Seattle, but moving in general, is to reaffirm that connection that I have to having adventure, to going about it and finding new experiences and not being stagnant in my life. That's very important to me. And while it's not important to necessarily everybody, for me, that is super important to be able to say, hey, I went on an experience life as much as I can. Because I always have thought at the end of the day, when I am on the bed and ready for the cord to be pulled or I am breathing my last breath, I don't want to say, man, I wish I went here, or man, I wish I went there. I want to go ahead and do those things. So I don't have those, oh man, I wish I would have done that. So this move will help me reconnect with adventure, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So the next one I've talked about before, and it's minimalism. And again, this is not necessarily why I'm moving to Seattle. This is more why I'm moving in general. So I have always been, asking everybody around me, a very minimalist person. I don't need a lot to be happy. And moving into this new place, I kind of gained stuff. I gained stuff and I started to buy stuff, and the buying of the stuff and the having of the stuff started to be something that I use to bring about some happiness, to bring about this dopamine rush of like, ooh, new thing. So the move is helping me get back to my minimalist roots of getting rid of everything, going back down to what I really need in my life to not only to live, but enjoy my life, to live with purpose. And it's very important to me to live how I talk about life, because a lot of times in our lives we'll talk about how we feel about our life and how our life should be lived and how we want to live our lives. And when we have, for instance, when I was buying things and I was not necessarily preaching but talking about minimalism, it wasn't meshing together. I was buying things and I didn't need, and I wanted to be a minimalist, and it was back and forth. So the move is going to allow me to get rid of everything. And yes, I know I can get rid of everything anyway without having to move, but this is kind of catalyzing everything, So whenever we have big changes in our lives, it allows other changes to beget changes. So in order to start one thing, another thing might have to start as well for the ball to start rolling. And the move is kind of the catalyst to being able to do all these other things I want to do to fit into what I want to be. Not necessarily what society wants or what this person wants, or what I want to be and who I want to be. So to be able to get rid of most of my stuff, to minimalize, to reevaluate what I care about, what I want, what I need. Like for instance, for me personally, of course I need my laptop for work. I need, my work laptop for work. I need my personal laptop. But, how big of a bed do I need? I don't need a, queen bed. What are the passions that I have? I have a lot of hobbies, but what are my passions? My passion's photography. I love photography. So my camera means a lot to me. My having my camera and taking pictures means very much to me, but other things that I have now, like 3D printing was a lot of fun. I got rid of that stuff because it was fun, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't something that I got up and I was like, I'm excited to do this. It's more like this is something to kind of keep me busy kind of thing. And while it was fun, it wasn't what I was passionate about. The third thing I would have to say is in this area, as a queer man, this area, while they have some fabulous queer people, and I love them to death, it is not a great dating space. Even for non-queer people, it's not a great dating space. It's especially as a over 30-year-old man, it is a very odd place to date and to find people that you can bond with. And one of the reasons I need to move, and again, not necessarily Seattle, but I needed to move in general, was to put myself back into the dating space. I kind of had given up on it because it was more difficult here to find a person. I use that as an excuse to give up on finding someone. And not necessarily I'm going to get back on like dating sites, all this kind of stuff. That is a whole nother conversation that I'm not big on those things. But to be able to be in places and be active in places where you meet people that you can bond with, and not necessarily partners, but also friends and other people, of meeting these new people that you can share ideas with and you can learn from. The move is kind of needed for me to find a place where I can essentially socialize and find more people, not necessarily like-minded, but more people I can bond with and I can find. So dating was a big one for me. I kind of been hiding here, and I needed to kind of stop hiding and get back out there. And again, moving's kind of catalyst for that, as well as, to be fair, I'm moving to a city, so a lot more people to meet and to interact with. So I'm hoping that kind of catalyzes into or turns into some really awesome experiences and relationships. So the last one I want to touch on is, it's a little sensitive. In North Dakota, unfortunately, the culture war against the LGBT world has kind of come about. While very subtle, the legislation that has been carried out, even over the past year, this year, there's been 17 bills that have some type of kind of leaning against the LGBT people, against trans people, against all of this stuff that I do not condone. And being I live in a red state, that's kind of how most of the red states are going, except for there are a few out there. But with that, I need to move out of the state to kind of get myself in a place where I feel safe and protected, and the ability to be free and be myself. The amount of time I've spent throughout my life living in Missouri and North Dakota, hiding, kind of masking and hiding kind of a lot of my natural, meanness, has been exhausting. It really has. And it's not necessarily anyone's specific fault. There's lots of people that have accepted me for who I am and love me for who I am, but that's kind of what it does when you live in a a state that doesn't really favor or understand queer people is that it always feels like you're kind of in the trenches a little bit. So you mask a bit more, and you pretend a bit more, and you kind of it's a weird thing that happens, that even though you may not be faced directly with an onslaught of hate, you just always feel kind of on guard. And I want to get away from that, to be able to breathe and to be able to be myself more. So one of the reasons I'm moving is because I need to get to a place where I can breathe and be myself and feel protected. And then from that platform, I can then kind of help out with the kind of the fight for LGBT rights and stuff like that, because I believe honestly that it's really hard to fight when you are in the trenches and you have no place to kind of rest and recuperate and be yourself. So I'm kind of moving to a more safe state, a state that has protections against LGBT discrimination and stuff like that. For that reason, is I can breathe and I can be myself more and not have to feel that pressure. So that was the couple of items that were big for me, why I moved. They might be different for you, and you might not have any, and that's okay. If you want to move, that's okay. One of the things that we're going to talk about in a couple of these episodes is not only do you not need a reason, but how to help kind of figure out how you're going to do it, and figure out, okay, what do I need, that kind of thing. And who I need to tell, and what kind of things link into that, kind of like nearby family and stuff like that. So please stay tuned to some more episodes that I'm going to be posting. I hope these help people that are thinking about moving, that they understand that they're not alone, that there's other people out there like me that are that are moving for certain reasons and are having to essentially restart their lives. And I'm here with you to kind of help you restart your life. So thank you so much. I hope you please subscribe for more videos, because I'm going to keep going on these one. Like this video if it helped you. And honestly, I love you for who you are, and live your life for yourself. Thank you.